Hey everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Once again, Christmas is around the corner and we all are ready to spend the time with all our family and loved ones. In this video and upcoming some videos will be on some of the historical facts on Christmas. So, stay tuned to enjoy and enrich yourself with these Christmas facts. And please hit that like button so that these videos can reach others. So without further delay, let's get started. Christmas is a Christian holiday commemorating the coming of Jesus. Christmas, which means Mass on Christ's Day, in English, is a relatively new term. The previous term Yule might have originated from the Anglo-Saxon word geology, or the Germanic word Jol, which denoted the feast of the winter solstice. Natale in Italian, Noël in French, and Navidad in Spanish are the equivalent phrases in other languages that most likely refer to nativity. Hallowed Night is what the German word Weihnachten means. Christmas is a secular family celebration that has been enjoyed by both Christians and non-Christians since the early 20th century. It has no Christian symbolism and is distinguished by an ever more ornate gift-giving ceremony. A mythological character by the name of Santa Claus is central to this secular Christmas festivity. Christmas has its origin in the Neolithic period. December 21st is known as the midwinter solstice, because it is the shortest day of the year. Stonehenge's highest stone coincided with that day's sunrise, a significant event for the people who constructed and utilized it. It has been found by archaeologists working at the adjacent Dennington walls that large feasts were hosted there at this time of year by Neolithic, New Stone Age, people. Large amounts of meat and pork, some from animals transported hundreds of kilometers, were consumed by them. A late Neolithic must-have item, they also likely drank mead, made from honey, or barley beer from decorated pottery beakers. They also likely liked dairy goods like fermented milk and cheese. The most prized midwinter gifts would have been daggers forged from bronze, the new alloy that had only recently started to supplant stone and flint in tools and weaponry. It is likely that bronze weapons were brought across from Europe, where advances in metalworking technique had begun earlier. The wealthiest guests wore gold necklaces, possibly with matching hair ornaments and gold buttons to fasten their garments. To honor the sun and ask him to come back and extend the days, they may have danced, leaped over bonfires, and played bone flutes. Romans used to celebrate a festival called Saturnalia during the time of Christmas. The Saturnalia, which started on December 17th, was a minimum of 5 days of feasting and revelry in honor of the Roman midwinter festival. It was a period when all the customs around social hierarchy and manners were subverted in honor of Saturn, the chief of the Roman gods. Slaves had their masters serve them at meals, and upon being set free, they were all given pileases, or conical, caps of liberty. Dice gambling, which is normally prohibited, was permitted, and everyone dressed in flashy party wear rather than white togas or gowns. After communal feasts, families celebrated at home with gifts of little tokens, songs, or poems, and notably sigillaria, small figurines made of wax or ceramic. Even slaves had the ability to criticize their owners, only this. At Housestead's Roman fort, officers may have served soldiers during Saturnalia. They would have added some of the opulent treats the Romans brought to Britain to their regular diet of bread and cattle, like figs, dates, pine nuts, snails, fattened dormice, and garum, a pungent sauce made from fermented fish. Rather than the customary Hadrian's Wall beer, they would have sipped on imported wine, possibly Molson mixed with spices and honey. Christmas reached its new height during the medieval time. The 12-day Christmas festivities in the Middle Ages reached a peak on January 6th, also known as Twelfth Night, when gifts were exchanged. These events honored the birth of Christ, and in England in 1038, the term Christmas, also known as Christ's Mass, was first mentioned. Roman Saturnalia's gift-giving and servants as masters' antics were merged with Yule rituals, a midwinter feast, in medieval celebrations. Among these were the Yule log, which was kept burning all season long, the evergreen-decked buildings, and the elaborately decorated boars' heads, which were occasionally accompanied by mulled braggot, an extra-strong ale laced with honey, cinnamon, and brandy. A lord of misrule, whose word was law, oversaw boisterous medieval celebrations. Hot cockles, a game in which players had to guess who had smacked them from behind while wearing blindfolds, was one of the milder Christmas games he had ordered. The victim became the slapper if the guess was correct. Medieval Christmases combined religious observance with wild celebrations, and were significant state holidays when monarchs donned their crowns for feasts and gift-giving. During his 34-year reign, Henry II, the man who constructed the Great Tower at Dover Castle, held Christmas crown-wearings at 24 separate locations. Even more extravagant than medieval Christmases, Tudor celebrations were slightly more subdued, at least at court. A bean was cooked into a cake on Twelfth Night, which fell on January 6. Everyone had to copy the person who got it in their slice, who was crowned king of the bean, or, in the case of a lady, she selected her own king. They did what he did, drinking when he drank and coughing when he did. Plays and disguisings, such as Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, were also popular during this period. You had to pretend not to recognize Henry VIII and his cronies, who were dressed as Moors or Robin Hood's men. Henry VIII was a gifted musician and wrote the Christmas hymn, Green Groweth the Holly. With her own dancing chamber at Kenilworth Castle, Queen Elizabeth was known for her exuberant dance style. In the well-known Christmas cushion dance, a man placed a cushion in front of his ideal mate, who then knelt down on it, gave him a kiss, and began dancing. Until everyone was dancing, she then made the identical choice for her partner. Maybe sugar, which the wealthier Tudors adored, provided the dancers with their vitality. They poured it into wine that was already sweet and hosted magnificent sugar banquets featuring edible sugar goblets, holly, dragons, and castles. In addition to expecting extravagant gifts, which were traditionally presented on New Year's Day, the Queen, whose teeth turned black from sugar eating, meticulously documented each one's precise value. Victorian ages saw the transformation of the boisterous Christmas celebrations of prior eras into a more subdued, family-oriented occasion that gave rise to the modern Christmas. These developments were largely influenced by Queen Victoria, her adored husband Albert, and their 9 children. The Christmas trees that Albert introduced from his home Germany in 1840 quickly gained popularity, as did the practice of adorning them with lights and gifts, which were now typically given on Christmas Day itself. Victorian kids were typically given very simple gifts like candies, almonds, or oranges. However, wealthier youngsters might have hoped for something resembling the newest gadgets, like a toy train. Boxing Day got its name from the fact that Christmas box tips were given to tradespeople and servants until December 26. During this time, a number of other now familiar Christmas traditions were also created, such as printed Christmas cards, Christmas crackers, and the consumption of turkey and Christmas pudding rather than the customary goose. Santa Claus and his reindeer sleigh were brought here from America in the 1870s. The text, although not usually the songs, of many well-known carols, such as Good King Wenceslas, Once in Royal David City, and O Come All Ye Faithful, are Victorian. The majority of Victorian families attended church on Christmas. Richer neighbors also gave gifts or feasts for their less fortunate neighbors, a custom made popular by Charles Dickens' 1843 Christmas Carol, Scrooge Tale, and tenant-child parties were a yearly Christmas ritual at mansions such as Broadsworth Hall.